The scripture for this morning's lesson is Luke chapter 18 and verse 20. Says, "Thou knowest the commandments, do not commit adultery, do not kill, do not steal, do not bear false witness, and honor thy father and thy mother." This morning's lesson is, what would happen if all the secretaries in the world didn't show up to work tomorrow? Or, once they got there, they said, "By the way, we're leaving," and they walked out. A lot of folks, when you bring that up and you mention it, and people start thinking about it, they realize all the work that secretaries and ladies like that do. Consider the story of the husband that every time he came home from work in the evening, he'd ask his wife, "Well, what did you do today, dear?" Well, so one evening he came in from work, and he's out in the yard, and the kids are running around going crazy. They're still in their pajamas. There's toys all over the place. He walks inside, and the house is just tore up. The dishes are in the sink, and the place is just an absolute mess. And there's his wife laying on the couch, still in a robe and slippers, the hair still up in curlers, and she's eating chocolates. He said, "What's going on?" She looks at him and says, "You remember that question you always ask me, what did I do today?" Well, there you go. Think of all the stuff that our wives and our mothers do for us. A salary.com calculation, I found this interesting, found that after all the various duties are added up, that stay-at-home moms put in 94.7 hours in a typical work week. Almost 95 hours. And it would cost $112,962 a year to replace her. So if you got a housekeeper to do everything that your wife, quote, your mother does, that's what it would take. For working moms, the extra 57.9 hours of work they put in is worth $66,979. Ladies, you need to ask for a raise. Just saying. So, how important are women? You know, I've had two mothers in my life, and appreciated both of them. They were both women too, by the way. How important are women? Well, notice that creation wasn't very good until the evening of the sixth day, in which Eve was the crowning act of creation. Genesis 1:31. "And God saw everything that he had made, and behold, it was very good. And Eve was the last thing that God created, and the evening and the morning were the sixth day." It was good every day. At the end of every day, God saw that it was good. But until the evening of the sixth day, after the creation of Eve and him bringing Eve to Adam, you read about that in Genesis 2 and verse 24. It wasn't until then that it was very good. So the woman is the keystone, the capstone, if you will, for creation. And where would we be if we didn't? I'm not saying that every woman that has children is an excellent mother. Not saying that at all. It's the same way with fathers. Not every man that is a father is actually the best he could be. We're not arguing that. But we're simply saying that any woman that has children, that takes an interest in what she's doing, does a very, very good job. Jesus saw that his mother's needs were met. In John chapter 19:25, he's hanging on the cross and he sees John, the favorite disciple, the beloved disciple rather, standing over there with Mary, his mother, and he said, "Behold, woman, behold thy son." And he said, "Behold thy mother." And it says that John took Mary into his house and made her part of it going forward from that moment on. So Jesus saw to his mother's needs. Apparently, his foster father Joseph had passed away, or he certainly wasn't part of the picture. We have nothing more from him after Matthew chapter 1, 2, and 3. So Mary needed to be taken care of, and she was. When you look at Timothy's mother and grandmother, look at the impact that they had. In 2 Timothy 1 and verse 5, "Would I remember the unfeigned faith that is in thee, which dwelt first in thy grandmother Lois and thy mother Eunice, or Eunice, depending on how you look at it. And I am persuaded that in thee also." So there was something identifiable about Timothy that Paul the apostle could attribute to his mother and his grandmother, to the upbringing that he had. And I would submit to you that the same thing is still valid today. That when parents bring up their children in the admonition and nurture of the Lord, and do it properly, and all that goes along with that, then our children are going to make a difference. People are going to see a difference in their children. Their children are just going to be different. Their perspective on life is different. And we'll look at here more about that here in just a moment. But the influence of godly parents is beyond compare. You can't put a value on it. You just can't. So, considering, and we're not going to read the text, but in Proverbs chapter 31, 10 through 31, you see the example of a woman whose value is above rubies. A woman has the power to turn a house into a home. I'm of the opinion that that's just hardwired into women. I don't know. I don't have any explanation for it than that. Compare, now, as proof of this, and it's not just conjecture on my part, compare a single man's residence with a comparative married man's residence. And I before we got married, you could track my progress through my apartment by taking off a boot here and a boot there as I'm going up the stairs. You can see my shirt hung on the railing at the top of the stairs, and as I progressed through my apartment back to you could see the progress as I was getting ready for whatever I was going to get ready for. But when we got married, it didn't happen that way. It changed drastically. What are your boots doing sitting there? Okay, so those things take care of themselves. Compare a single father's residence to that of a single mother. My wife and I were talking about this the other day. That women put pictures on the walls, and they put curtains on the windows, and when it comes time for spring, they put up the spring curtains. I had no idea. That's what a woman does. She changes a house into a home. It becomes a place of comfort other than just a place of existence between going to work and doing, and then the next morning. And it's a very, very positive thing. I mean, absolutely no disrespect by that whatsoever. I'm just simply drawing the difference between a wife and a mother and what a man does on his own. But let me say this, and this is something I take very, very seriously. On Facebook over the years, I've had these discussions. Some men and women have been treated very, very badly by their significant other at one particular point. A lot of bitterness, and I just tell the women, why would a Proverbs 31 woman marry somebody that's not an Ephesians 5:25 guy? And if you look at Ephesians chapter 5, verse 25 through 33, you'd see the description of a man, of a male of the species that is truly a man. And I notice what I said there, a male of the species that is truly a man, and not just a man, but a godly man on top of it. That he cherishes his wife. He treats her with respect and deals with her, and deals with her properly. Why would a Proverbs 31 woman, as Proverbs 31, 10 through 31 describes her, why would she marry somebody that's not worthy? And yet they do. That's one of those things. I'm just wondering sometimes if women have been trained properly, and because I know men haven't been trained properly. So on Father's Day, June the 15th, tune in and you'll get the guy's side of this thing too. Let's look at some things that moms say. And I know you've got some, but these are some that I had. If you don't stop crying, I'll give you something to cry about. Yeah, boy. Just wait till your father gets home. How many of you, fellas, how many of you heard that? Ladies, how many of you heard that from your mom? This is for your own good. Oh, I don't know. Sure didn't feel like it. Because I said so, that's why. Somebody said there's 3 reasons. I'm your mother / father, depending on the situation. I'm an adult and I said so. Okay. Yes, sir. When you move out, you can do whatever you want to. But until then, here's what you'll do. You'll do it my way. Okay. I don't care what anyone else is doing. If Jimmy jumped off a bridge, would you? Now, in all honesty, I did. Sure did. Indian Lake, Ohio, the bridge between Tecumseh Island and Minnetonka. I think that's what the name of the island was. A bunch of us one summer, let's just jump off of this thing. It worked, and none of us died. This is going to hurt me more than it hurts you. No, my son said I said that one time. He still remember. I don't remember it, but I'm sure I did. Put clean underwear on in case you get in an accident. Now this is, fathers wouldn't say that. Fathers wouldn't say that. Come here, son, I'll wash you down. All right. Am I speaking a foreign language? Yeah, boy. You're going to sit there until you finish your dinner, or you're going to see it for breakfast. Yeah. Here, now this is, I never had this one said to me. Stop making faces. Your face might freeze in that way. These are things mothers, bless their hearts, we love them. One day you'll thank me for this. Whew. Yeah. Eat with your mouth shut. Boy, that one right there. Yeah. And the last one I think that really caps it off is I love you more than you'll ever know. Why is it? Here's that truly illustrates this. Now, the next time you see a National Football League game, who knows when, and the camera pans down the bench, and all those guys on that bench turn around, who do they wave and say hi to? Hi, Mom. I've never seen one say, hi, Dad. Never seen one say, oh, hi, Mom. Why? Because Mom is who holds us when we're hurt. Mom is who comforts us when bad things happen to us. Now, Mom is the one that dries our tears and kisses the boo-boos. I love you more than you'll ever know. And that's so very true. We appreciate our mothers. That's why mothers are so valuable in what they do. The last point is women are the civilizing influence of society. Ladies, the statistics I gave in the introduction, the dollar amount doesn't come anywhere near. Titus chapter 2, verse 3. And I say this, the feminist movement has been a corruption. It's an ungodly movement. I believe in equal rights. Don't misunderstand me. I believe that if a woman's going to carry 50-pound bags of cement off the back of a tractor trailer, I think she ought to get paid the same that a man does. If you get paid 50 cents a bag, you get paid 50 cents a bag. Now, if I can carry 2 bags of cement and you can only carry 1, that's because I'm stronger than you are. Okay? So, but I'm saying that fair is fair. And ought to be treated fairly. Titus chapter 2 and verse 3. Now let me show you how important what a woman does is. The aged women likewise, that they be in behavior as becometh holiness. Holiness. Not false accusers, not given to much wine, teachers of good things. Why? Why does a woman need to do that? That they may teach the young women to be sober, to love their husbands, to love their children, to be discreet, to be chaste, to be keepers at home, good, obedient to their own husbands, that the word of God be not blasphemed. Well, I'm not going to be obedient to any man. I don't think you should be. Not to just any man. But if you've got the Ephesians 5:25 guy that cherishes you, why would you not be obedient to him? Because that thing is a self-fulfilling prophecy that the more he cherishes you, the more you love him. And that's just a circle. That's just, and it just gets better. But you look at what a woman does. The influence that a woman has, that godly women have on society. They rein their boys in, and they train their boys how to be men. Obviously, men have an important part in that too. But they teach their daughters and other young women how to be women. Years ago, when we were down in Auburndale, Florida, at the Orange Street Church, I was teaching Bible. I taught the high school Bible class for about 9 years. And we were talking about things like this, and I told the girls, I said, if you, just to show you how much power and control that a woman has, I said, what I want you to do, ladies, and I said, I want you to go to school on Monday, and when guys start talking nasty and filthy around you, like they do today, we never did that much when I was growing up. You don't have to get angry. I said, just kind of flip your hair back, give that woman thing, flip the hair back, say, well, I don't like that language, but if you're going to talk that way, I'll go someplace else. And get a couple of your girlfriends and do that. Wednesday night in Bible class, those girls came in. They said, Mr. Gene, it works. I'd forgotten. I said, what's that? She said, about the language thing. And I told them, I said, now when you do that, You do that a couple of times, and they're going to stop talking that way, but they'll say, well, here she comes. We got to watch what we say. Sure enough, it happened just exactly the way I said it would. Why? Because women have that kind of an influence. Nothing happens until a woman, assuming she's not forced, nothing happens till a woman says yes. So, ladies, if you want to stop stuff, you don't have to you don't have to yell and scream, you don't have to get angry, you just have to say, well, I'm not going to put up with that in some form or fashion. Not mean, not nasty, not yelling and screaming. Calmly, I just don't listen to that and walk away. It will change. It will change. I told one girl, I said, does your boyfriend smoke or dip? She said, yes. I said, here's how you change that. If you smell tobacco on him or you see him having just pulled that dip out of his mouth, I said, what you do is when he goes to kiss you, give him the cheek. It'll stop. What'd you do that for? Oh, tobacco. You don't have to nag him. Just give him the cheek. It'll change. It did. It works. When women are women and they behave as women need to and ought to, things change. Women are weak? No, don't say that to me. I deny that. If let me go on. Well, I'm going to go on. If boys are around, they absorb that culture also. They learn how to respect a woman. Children learn how to behave as they watch their parents. Their children learn how to be husbands and wives, mothers and fathers by watching their parents' behavior. When he treats mama with respect, opens the door, helps her on with her coat, pulls back her chair. I don't do this all the time, but I do it consistently. The boys do it too. And when it's practiced at the dinner table, the boys learn how to do it. I don't want to do it. Didn't ask if you want to do it. It's what a man does. It's what a man does. This is how a man treats women. Now, any man with half a mind is going to support and underline these efforts. When the mother comes to him and says, your daughter did this, that, or the other, then he needs to back mom up and say, you're not wearing that, but everybody else does. Yeah, ain't everybody else. Remember the bridge thing? Okay. Okay. Yeah, that's right. It works for girls too. You're my daughter. Well, it's not Father's Day, but how men can let their daughters go out dressed the way they go out, it's shameful. Men need to be taken to a woodshed and whipped regularly, I think. Okay, as we conclude this lesson. Women are not weak. I know this, that the Bible talks about treating women as the weaker vessel. I get that, and I'm not arguing with that at all, and what I'm saying doesn't contradict that. But I think this will get this silly idea of weakness out of men's minds. Is they need to be in every delivery room that their wives are in as their wives are giving birth. And they need to have hold of their wife's hand while the wife gives birth to their babies. Absolutely does. Absolutely. We tried that, had some issues that I couldn't be in there at the final moments. But I was there up to and almost including those final moments. I think every man ought to do that, to see what his wife goes through, to bear that child, to go through the 9 months, as somebody said, the 9-month nutsies, to see a woman go through that and go through childbirth and what she goes through. We were down in Zachary, Louisiana, and there's a young woman that just had her first baby. And we were in her room 2 or 3 days later, and she hadn't yet seen her child. I don't know what the issues were. I don't remember now, but she was shaking. The doctor came in and said, "What's the matter?" She says, "I haven't seen my baby yet." The doctor looked at the nurse, said, "Go get that baby." Okay, now. But doctor, no, get the baby now. And to see this young woman, when she got that baby in her arms, it was just like her world changed. The sun came up and it was shining bright, and all was right in this young mother's world. Women are important. Mothers are crucial. Women that are mothers, and godly women and godly mothers, there's no amount of rubies to pay that bill. They're crucial. And it is a calling. It is something that needs to be worked at. And if the husband has enough common sense to breathe on a regular basis, he will recognize what his wife does for his children, and he will treat that woman respectfully. And that right there, I think, would resolve a lot of our societal issues. Rather a, relatively speaking, short lesson for me at any rate, but it's an important one, and one that needs to be taken to mind. We look at our society today. We wonder why things are the way they are. It's because the home life is what it is. And it's because the standards that support that home life are what they are. When we as individuals, as men and women, seeking to construct a home and to have the relationship that is necessary the home is the bedrock for society. The raising of children is the bedrock of society. Why do communist nations, why do nations that are run by tyrannies want to break up the home? Because it teaches a higher responsibility to somebody other than the state. The home is the building block for any society that's going to last and last for any length of time. When the home is right, then everything else in society is right too. And you won't have mothers standing in front of a judge with their sons in orange jumpsuits saying, he's not that kind of a boy. Well, then why is he here? So, ladies, you have an important job. Men, you have a responsibility to support your wife in raising your babies and raising the babies that are in your home to make it easier. But all of this starts, somebody says, well, why should we do all these things? Because that's God's plan. You go back to Genesis chapter 2 and verse 24 and see the home being started, seeing the first marital relationship and seeing the children that came into that family and how things turned out. If we want to resolve the issues of society, it starts with the home. And ladies, the burden of it, fair, unfair, right, wrong, it's the way it is. It's the women spend the most time with the children than anybody else in the world does. And we as fathers and husbands need to support that effort. We appreciate so much what you do. Happy Mother's Day to each of you. And I pray to God that your time as a mother will be good. Unfortunately, society being what it is, frequently we break our mothers' hearts. So we need to be mindful of all this, but it all starts with a godly home, as I said a moment ago. It all begins with us being godly individuals, which implies that we are Christians. Jesus said, he that believeth and is baptized shall be saved. He that believeth not shall be condemned, or is condemned already, again, depending on your translation. Mark chapter 16 and verse 16. But the Bible also says, Jesus also said, we have to hear the truth, John 6, 44 and 45, and believe it. The truth that Jesus is the Christ, John 8 and verse 24. All these are quotes from Jesus. Jesus said that we must repent of our sins, Luke 13 and verse 3. Jesus said that we must be willing to confess him before men, Matthew 10, 32 and 33. Then being baptized, Mark 16, 16. But then Jesus also said, be thou faithful unto death, faithful mothers, faithful husbands, be thou faithful unto death, and I'll give unto thee the crown of life.